Hi, I'm Len Edgerly. This is the Morning Journal for Friday, February 9th in Sanibel. I had a great conversation yesterday with an author, Matt Gallagher, who has a novel which will be released February 20th by Simon Schuster. And the title of the novel is Daybreak. It's available for pre-order on Amazon. I highly recommend it. I had an advanced reader copy in order to prepare for my chat by Zoom with Matt yesterday. It's a story set in Ukraine in the early days after the invasion of Ukraine by Russia in February of 2022. We're coming up on the anniversary of that awful event, which changed the trajectory of the world, I think you can say. And it's a love story. It's a story of two U.S. military veterans who were kind of at loose ends after serving in Afghanistan. And so when the war unfolds, they head to Ukraine and they volunteer to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia. And it turns out that Matt Gallagher did this himself. He had served in the army in Iraq. And so he was one of the people who went to Ukraine early on. And then I think he returned once or twice after that, helping civilians learn how to defend themselves if it came to that as the invasion unfolded. He was part of what he called what ended up becoming an international legion, sort of like the French Foreign Legion, of people that came from all over Canada, Britain, Australia, US, other countries to help out in this defense of a democracy. And his characters in the book have a sense of feeling lost, which often happens with veterans after a war. How do you do civilian life after you've had those kinds of awful experiences? And a sense that here was a democracy that had been invaded, and this was something that would be maybe more fulfilling. I don't know, the idea of getting fulfillment out of a war. I certainly understand it, but and that's a part of the story. It's a literary book. It's a book set in the middle of a current war, and but Matt clearly has literary aspirations for what he's doing. And that made it very interesting to talk with him. He had opinions about what's ahead for Ukraine. Is this going to be a generational war, which goes on and on? And he's very thoughtful. But he hopes his book is a story which will last beyond the headlines. And I think it probably will. It's a quite touching. Luke Paxton returns to Ukraine for muddled reasons, partly because he had fallen in love with a Ukrainian woman 10 years earlier when he had been over there serving. So that relationship is complex and nicely portrayed. It also gave me a chance to see what it's like over there beneath the headlines. At one point, Svetlana's taking her son to a swimming lesson. And I think, well, I thought everybody was just sitting around in Ukraine waiting for the missiles to fall. But life goes on, daily life goes on, and Matt really captures it well in this book. So I think my overall impression after talking with him was, you hear a lot about humans need meaning in their lives. And I also have a real strong feeling that creating things, writing, doing these kinds of morning journal things that I do, whenever I create something, it gives me a chance to find the meaning in my own life. Matt Gallagher, a young man with two young kids, waiting 12 days until his fourth book is released, living his life, he just seemed imbued with a sense of meaning. He cared about Ukraine. He cared about what he did there. He cared about what he's written and how it will help inform conversations about the war and war in general. But more, it will touch people with his story, and I think it will. So I would like to I can't release the interview until it's published, but I hope you'll pre-order Daybreak by Matt Gallagher. Really a good book and a good guy.